Pinboards act like live dashboards. They're a collection of your related charts, tables, and headlines. You can pin charts and tables to any pinboard which you've created and those that have been shared with you with the edit privilege. To review, you can create a pinboard by pinning an answer or search and clicking Create Pinboard after hitting the pin icon. Next, you can name your pinboard by typing it in the text field that appears. Then click Add and a new pinboard has been created. Also, this answer has been added to that pinboard. I'll click Done now to pin additional answers to this pinboard. I'll select a second answer to pin to it, and another. Now you can also pin a headline to a pinboard. If I just do a search with my sales measure, I see that just below the table a KPI has appeared with my total sales overall. I can pin this to my pinboard as well. Now let's take a look at the pinboard that we've just created. Go to the Pinboards page from your top bar to see a list of all your pinboards. I see the one that was just created along with the visualizations that I've added to it. If I scroll down, I see my KPI down below, and I can drag and drop it to rearrange. I can drag and drop any of these visualizations to arrange my pinboard how I like. I can also resize or reshape a visualization by hovering over it and clicking on the ellipses icon that appears on the top right. A drop-down menu appears, and at the bottom of the list are several gray shapes. To change this visualization to a different shape, click on the one that you'd like to change it to, and now I see my visualization has updated on the pinboard. In this case, I'll keep it as the original shape. I'll drag and drop, and to save my pinboard with these changes, I'll go to the Save Changes button at the top. Remember that users can only see pinboards that they've created or were shared with them. So to share this pinboard with other users and groups, I'll go to the Share icon to the top right of the pinboard and click Share. Now, I can enter a username or a group name to share this pinboard with. I can share with Can View or Can Edit permissions. Then click Share. Pinboards are interactive, which means if you're looking at a visualization, you can right-click on the data point to drill down and learn more information on that particular point. When you drill down on a pinboard, you'll notice a blue arrow appears on the bottom right, indicating that you can go back to the original visualization at any time. It's a best practice to give visualizations on a pinboard a descriptive name, and to do so, click on the ellipses icon that appears at the top right of a visualization and click Change Title. Here, you can set a descriptive title and even a description. This way, it is always very clear what the user is seeing and how to interpret the visualization. I see what I've entered into my description appears just below the title of the chart. You can even edit the title of the entire pinboard by clicking on the pencil icon for any pinboard which you have editing access to. When you click on the pencil icon, again, you have the opportunity to update the name or even set a description. Of course, you can add this pinboard as a favorite by clicking on the star icon. Now, there are a number of other actions you can take with this pinboard. If you hover your cursor over the ellipses icon to the top right of the pinboard and click on it, you'll see that there's a number of things you can do. First, you can always make a copy of a pinboard if you'd like to create a new pinboard from an existing one. Or you can add a filter to apply to the entire pinboard at once. To apply a pinboard filter, click Add Filters, and you'll notice the left data panel appears on the left. If you uncollapse the name of the worksheet, you can see that you can hover your cursor over any column and add a filter from that column to the pinboard. In this case, let's say we want to apply a filter by region. I'll click the filter icon that appears, and I'll select the West regions on which I want to filter. Once I click Done, I'll notice my entire Pinboard will update, and now I'm only seeing data for the West, Southwest, and Midwest regions. Anytime you apply a Pinboard filter, it appears across the top so that it's clear what filter has been applied. If this Pinboard filter was in conflict with an existing answer filter, meaning let's say a visualization had already been filtered by the East region, but we applied the West region filter to it, then the Pinboard filter would override the answer filter. This only refers to when the filter is coming from the same column. In other cases, in which the filters might be coming from different columns, both the answer filter and the Pinboard filter would be applied. You can also download the Pinboard as a PDF by clicking on the ellipses icon on the top right and clicking Download as PDF. Now, oftentimes we want to present the data in our Pinboards to a group or at a meeting. It's easy to turn your Pinboard into a presentation by clicking Present from the drop-down menu of the ellipses icon. This shows each tile of the Pinboard as its own slide, and you can go to the next slide with the right arrow or by clicking your mouse. What's great about presenting your Pinboard this way is that you can interact with it so that when a question comes up during the meeting, instead of needing to wait to address it, you can just right-click and drill down or show the underlying data to give more information on what you're looking at. You can restore back to the original visualization using the blue arrow that appears at the bottom right of the slide. You can annotate the slide by adding a description to the visualization, which would allow it to appear just underneath the chart title. To exit a presentation, click the Escape key. To make edits to a chart on the Pinboard, just hover over the chart that you'd like to edit and go to the ellipses icon on that visualization and click Edit. I'll save my changes so that I can edit this visualization. Here, let's say I want to change this from a bar chart to a pie chart. I'll make that change and click the ellipses icon of the chart and Update. Now, when I hit Close from the top right, I see my chart on this Pinboard has been updated to a pie chart. Now, for this particular visualization, I can also click the ellipses icon and click Copy and Edit. This will make a copy of that visualization in a new tab so that I can continue to make edits or changes to it outside of the Pinboard. Let's go back to the Pinboard in the original tab. Now you can also schedule the sharing of the Pinboard by going to the ellipses icon at the top right and clicking Manage Schedules. Here you'll see a list of schedules for this Pinboard, for which none have been created yet. So I can add a schedule by clicking the plus schedule icon towards the top. Here, I have the opportunity to indicate with whom I'd like to schedule the Pinboard for and how often. Let's say I want to share this Pinboard every week. Then I can select which time of the week that I'd like to share it on. And I'll click Done. Now, give your schedule a name and an optional description. Down below, you can indicate whether you want a gating condition. The gating condition allows you to set a condition in your data, and only when that condition is met, then the Pinboard will be shared. For instance, you can indicate that you only want the Pinboard to be shared when the sales are over 1 million. Now, if you save this as your gating condition, the Pinboard will only be shared at Monday at 2 o'clock when your sales are over that amount. Lastly, you need to indicate which users or groups that you'd like to share the Pinboard with. You can click inside the text field to add the name of a user or group. Then click Add. When you click Schedule, now this Pinboard will be shared to the emails of the users or groups you've shared it with. They'll receive a link to enter ThoughtSpot and view the Pinboard. Remember that Pinboards always show your latest data. So anytime a user accesses the Pinboard, they can be sure they're seeing the most up-to-date visualizations. The Explore feature of the Pinboard allows users to interact with the visualizations further. If you hover your cursor over a visualization, you'll see the Explore button appear. And when you click on it, you'll be taken to a new view at the bottom of the existing Pinboard with some additional features. The Explore feature brings some search functionality to the Pinboard and allows users to play with their data and their visualizations in a safe way. There are four main actions in the Explore view. First, you can filter the visualization by either adding a filter of your own or using one of the filters that ThoughtSpot suggests for you. These suggestions are driven by usage-based ranking, or UBR, meaning how you've searched in the past informs ThoughtSpot of what to suggest for you. You can also add to this chart in the Add tab. Again, add a column of your own or use one of ThoughtSpot's suggestions. For instance, perhaps I want to add a measure to my chart. I clicked on the sales suggestion, and now I see my chart has updated. Since this is not quite what I wanted, I can either use the back icon to go back a step or the reset icon to reset to the original. Now we can continue taking a look at other options in Explore. Next, you can replace one column with another. For instance, instead of seeing product type, we can replace that with a different attribute. Now I see my chart has updated. Lastly, you can use the Compare tab to compare two groups using the versus keyword. Now, if you've made changes using the Explore feature that you'd like to add to your Pinboard, you can click the pin icon and add it to the same Pinboard or a different one. As you can see, the Explore feature provides you with suggestions on how to explore and understand your data further. When you're all done, you can click the X button and be taken back to the original Pinboard. When you're all done making the changes to your Pinboard, be sure to go to the More icon or the ellipses icon and click Save. Use the Pinboards page from the top bar to view all Pinboards that have been shared with you, the ones that you've created under the Yours tab, and the ones that you have favorited under the Favorites tab.